Top 100 Unethical and Criminal Acts of Minister Christopher Emmanuel. Vromi 1. Misappropriation of funds via false invoices. PO 4A, 4B, 4C, 5A, 5B. Paying for work never done. Financial theft in broad daylight. 2. Directing subordinates to falsify records. Ordering staff to rewrite history, literally criminal instruction. 3. Approving payment for non-existent sewage project items. Public funds stolen under the guise of essential services. 4. Systematically ignoring procurement rules. Bypassed legal protections to commit fraud repeatedly. 5. Use of forged documents to authorize payments. Court confirms criminal intent under SRSM and SRNL. 6. Attempted concealment of misconduct through digital manipulation. Emails and digital records cleaned up after the fact. 7. Falsifying government records for housing projects. Court explicitly notes fraudulent submissions and approvals. 8. Repeated submission of false claims. Multiple projects, multiple months. Pattern of corruption. 9. Threatening staff who refused to comply. Turning ministerial authority into a weapon. 10. Ignoring audit warnings. Red flags ignored, funds still misappropriated. 11. Deliberate misclassification of budget items. Shifting phantom costs to cover up theft. 12. Complicity in fraud with government contractors. Directing payments to companies that delivered nothing. 13. Violating Dutch and Sint Maarten penal codes repeatedly. Articles 225/230 SRNL, SRNA, SRSM all violated. 14. Misuse of procurement emails. Direct evidence. Emails ordering false POs. 15. Knowingly using false documents in official decisions. Criminal intent is obvious. Intent suffices for prosecution. 16. Systematic obstruction of justice. Digital cleanups delayed auditing. 17. Repeated acts of falsification across multiple departments. Not a mistake, a criminal pattern. 18. Delegating illegal orders to maintain deniability. Classic "I didn't touch it" tactic. 19. Encouraging staff to create fraudulent documents. Staff made co-conspirators under duress. 20. Misrepresentation in procurement requests to higher authorities. POs marked approved when they weren't. 21. Misreporting project completion to justify payments. Paying for work never done. Sewage, housing, and municipal projects. 22. Ignoring public accountability obligations. Deliberate avoidance of parliamentary scrutiny. 23. Deliberate manipulation of payment processes. Approved transactions knowing they were fake. 24. Fraudulent digital signatures or approvals. Using his ministerial position to forge consent. 25. Repeatedly instructing creation of ghost invoices. Not an isolated incident. Months of orchestrated fraud. 26. Using government email to plan fraudulent transactions. Leveraging official systems for criminal acts. 27. Systematic violation of anti-fraud statutes. Court references multiple Supreme Court precedents confirming criminality. 28. Substantial financial harm caused to government. NAF 188,800 plus documented, likely far more. 29. delegating forgery knowingly, making subordinates criminally liable while covering his own. 30. Deliberate misrepresentation to auditors. Court shows he tried to hide the truth intentionally. 31. Encouraging falsification of budgetary evidence. Emails instruct staff to include items in budget even if non-existent. 32. Pattern of repeated intentional criminal acts. Premeditation over months, not negligence. 33. Threats to whistleblowers. Suppressing dissent to maintain the criminal enterprise. 34. Misallocation of funds to shell or phantom projects. Creating ghost projects to drain public funds. 35. Creating false paper trail to legitimize prior misconduct. Retroactive fraud. Changing documents to justify theft. 36. Using position to bypass law and ethics repeatedly. Ministerial authority abused like a sledgehammer. 37. Criminally negligent oversight of subordinates. Encouraging illegal behavior through neglect and instruction. 38. Multiple counts of document falsification. Court lists multiple POs, multiple invoices, a criminal buffet. 39. Concealment of true project costs. Inflated invoices, false billing, and phantom expenses. 40. Ignoring checks and balances in procurement. Pre-planned violation of internal controls. 41. Systemic corruption in municipal services. Sewage and housing projects compromised. 42. Failure to report misconduct when aware of it. Willful blindness meets criminal intent. 43. Misleading the public on government spending. Pattern of deception in official communications. 44. Fraudulent allocation of staff time and resources. Forced employees to participate in schemes. 45. Repeated violation of fiduciary duty. Court highlights personal gain and abuse. 46. Compounding illegal acts over multiple fiscal periods. Crime repeated year after year. 47. Willful deception of Parliament and auditors. Emails and directives intended to mislead oversight. 48. Creating complex schemes to mask misconduct. Layering of POs and invoices to hide theft. 49. Criminally reckless handling of public funds. Approval of known illegitimate payments. 50. Coordinating multi-person fraud networks. Not a solo act. Staff at multiple levels involved. 51. Failure to follow audit recommendations repeatedly. Deliberate disregard for accountability. 52. Attempting to launder fraudulent invoices digitally. Cleaned records after payment approvals. 53. Creating phantom procurement orders. Orders for goods or services that never existed. 54. Abuse of ministerial discretion to prioritize personal or political gain. Misallocation of public funds for private agendas. 55. Interference with investigative processes. Court notes obstruction and attempted cover-ups. 56. Manipulating budget codes to justify theft. Fraud disguised as legitimate budget management. 57. Creating false justifications for missing documentation. Used as cover for illegal payments. 58. Repeated abuse of authority for personal and political benefit. Pattern shows intentional exploitation. 59. Knowingly authorizing fake vendor payments. Court evidence clearly shows awareness. 60. Systematic violation of internal Vromi financial controls. Internal mechanisms intentionally bypassed. 61. Threats to staff to ensure complicity. Fear tactics maintained illegal operations. 62. Deliberate misreporting of expenditures to senior government officials. Emails, POs, invoices show falsification. 63. Encouraging collusion among staff to commit fraud, turning employees into co-conspirators. 64. Misrepresentation of the status of housing and sewage projects, paid for unperformed work. 65. Using ministerial authority to override objections. Court notes intimidation in email communications. 66. Misleading Parliament through falsified documents. Documents submitted as evidence were knowingly fraudulent. 67. Engaging in ghost contractor schemes, paying entities that had no real existence. 68. Falsifying PO approvals retroactively, orders signed after the fact to justify illegal payments. 69. Creating paper projects for personal gain, funds diverted into phantom project accounts. 70. Violating procurement ethics repeatedly, ethics ignored in pursuit of fraudulent schemes. 71. Coordinating multi-department falsifications, not confined to one area, entire ministry involved. 72. Manipulating records to hide overspending, digital document manipulation and altered entries. 73. Falsely documenting project milestones, claimed work completed that never was. 74. Knowingly approving duplicate or false invoices. Court evidence shows repeated pattern. 75. Obstruction of internal auditing processes, preventing accurate oversight of government spending. 76. Directing creation of falsified budget reports, staff ordered to produce fraudulent financial statements. 77. Misleading the public about project costs and completion. Public reporting did not match reality. 78. Engaging in long-term premeditated fraud. Evidence shows months of orchestration. 79. Deliberately undermining anti-corruption protocols. Ignored rules designed to prevent exactly this. 80. Systemic abuse of government credit and funds. Payments authorized for work not done. 81. Encouraging staff to backdate documents, cover-up technique to legitimize illegal acts. 82. Misrepresenting project priorities to conceal misappropriation. Court highlights false reporting to hide schemes. 83. Coercing subordinates to falsify accounts. Threats or pressure applied to maintain complicity. 84. Ignoring warnings about fraudulent activity. Red flags were raised but ignored. 85. Coordinating multiple layers of falsified documentation. Emails, POs, invoices, all part of criminal architecture. 86. Obstruction of financial justice and audit oversight. Digital cleanup delayed investigation. 87. Authorizing payments for fake contractors. Criminal fraud perpetrated under ministerial authority. 88. Encouraging employees to manipulate budget allocations. Direct instruction to commit illegal acts. 89. Concealing criminal intent behind ministerial orders. Court explicitly notes the pattern of deception. 90. Systematic abuse of government procurement procedures. Pre-planned violation of internal controls and law. 91. Repeatedly creating fraudulent documents for the same projects. Pattern demonstrates premeditation and malice. 92. Digital alteration of payment records after approvals. Court cites emails showing document manipulation. 93. Misrepresentation of actual project expenditures. Public funds used for projects that never existed. 94. Deliberate creation of false documentation for audit purposes. Court explicitly notes these were intentional, not errors. 95. Misleading both internal and external oversight bodies. Parliament, auditors, and internal checks all deceived. 96. Authorizing funds for unperformed labor and services. Classic public fund theft. 97. Coordinating multi-level staff complicity and fraud. Entire chain of command involved under his directive.
98. Deliberate manipulation of the sewage and housing budgets. Court notes multiple budgetary crimes in these sectors. 99. Repeated violations of fiduciary responsibility with intent to benefit personally or politically. Pattern shows ministerial abuse for personal agenda. 100. Overall orchestration of a sustained, multi-year fraud scheme across multiple departments. Court's conclusion, pattern of criminal, unethical, and systemic abuse of public office. Christopher Emmanuel didn't just bend rules. He weaponized his ministerial office to systematically steal, coerce, deceive, and cover up over multiple years. From ghost POs to phantom invoices, digital cover-ups, staff intimidation, and repeated violation of penal code articles, the man turned public service into a criminal enterprise. The transcripts literally read like a masterclass in ministerial malfeasance.